Good day from Wall Street. This is Nick Casella, Senior Mining and Metals Analyst here at the Wall Street Ledger. I'm pleased to welcome from Chilean Metals, which trades on the Toronto Venture Exchange, ticker CMX, as well over-the-counter markets, ticker CMETF. Terry Lynch, she's the President, CEO, and Director. Terry, thank you for joining us here at the Wall Street Ledger.
Great to be here, Nick. It's good to see you.
Explosive company. I love the opportunity to speak with you today. If you could, why don't you discuss the current projects, operations, and that recently announced acquisition?
Sure. So up until late December, I would call us a sort of a gold, copper, silver explorer, and we have some pretty great projects in that area in Chile and in BC. And then we were fairly opportunistic in December. We came across a transaction through our network that really is sort of transformative for the company. And it was an opportunity to acquire a very high grade nickel resource. And it's a historical resource, but we believe it's actually a bona fide resource from our due diligence. So the biggest challenge in junior mining is to actually find a resource. The odds are always against you. Mother Earth doesn't give it up very easily, as you know. So exploration is a very risky business, and we don't like the risk, but it's just part of the territory. But where we get a chance to reduce the risk, well, then smart ones do. So I just saw this as an opportunity. Well, I could really decrease my shareholders' risk by getting us into a very bona fide resource in a hot area that we think we can grow into a mine. So we did that transaction. So we gave up 20% of the company to do it, which is obviously not something you do just willy-nilly. But we did a bunch of research, and we're convinced that this thing has the bones to become a mine. Now, obviously, we'll have to follow it up and prove that's the case. But I say to people, if the odds of exploration success are 1,000 to 1 or something like that, and even with good science, it maybe gets to 100 to 1, but in where we're at now, it's probably more like a 50-50, so obviously that's huge for us. And the market is starting to wake up to it. We I think when we announced it, it had an initial rally, and then we had a financing that sort of came free, and then some people had tripled their money and they just jumped off the cliff, even though maybe they're going to make 10 times that, but they race to the exit, and that happens. And then we just mopped it up, and now we've got some we've gotten some fairly serious interest from Europe that's I think been sort of participating in the market, buying it, and I think they're looking to the future, and we're pretty excited about what we can do here over the next 12 to 18 months.
Give us a better feel of the current infrastructure within these regions as it would pertain to drilling, exploration, etc.
Sure. So we're really lucky. I mean, basically, NISC is in James Bay. James Bay, probably most famous for powering, the northeast United States and with hydro. So you've got the James Bay power facilities. In fact, we're like literally across the road from one. So one of the great things from a development perspective is we'll get cheap power, and that's awesome. And it's green power, which is even more awesome, right? Hydroelectric. So that's great. I mean, it's we're literally off the highway. There's an airport about 15 clicks away. There's we've got a great relationship with the Cree, the native Indian band that basically is the indigenous rights holder in the area, and they're very pro development, and our partner in this case, Critical Elements, who is now our largest shareholder, they're building, I think, what will be Canada's next lithium mine just up the road from us. So they're obviously they're in final feasibility and are about to almost literally get in the ground. So probably in the next year, within the next few months, I would think. They're just waiting for their final permits, and so there's a fair bit of infrastructure up there. No problem to build the mine, and no problem to get the labor to provide for it. And then in terms of shipping the finished product, there's both rail. That you could rail it to Inco if you need to, or to Rio Tinto in Sudbury, or you could take it directly overseas through the shipping ports of James Bay in the summertime and Montreal in the winter. So it's very well set up.
Let's switch gears a bit here and talk about this current board and management team at the company.
Sure. So we're, I mean, we've got a very good board. I mean, a couple of Greg McKenzie is ex managing director at Haywood Securities, one of the premier sort of money, the junior I would say capital raisers in the country in terms of mining and technology. And now Greg is he's crossed over and he's running his own silver mine in Mexico, but a very experienced guy. He's been around. Same Peter Kent, ex lawyer, been through the M&A process many times. So these are seasoned veterans that can help guide us and make sure we don't stumble on things. So Les Mallard is a significant shareholder in he actually came from the Chiquita Brands, if you can believe it. But he's just a very savvy investor, early stage mining investor. Has been doing this for 20 years and very successfully. So it's great because these guys are putting their own money in, which is awesome, and they've been around the horn. So and they've been this has not been an overnight success. It's been a difficult mining market for everyone. It was difficult for Chilean. And really only, last September did we sort of finally feel it was time to step on the gas, that we were finally going to get a mining market that would justify us taking the risks, and could deliver returns potentially for our shareholders. So we're thankful that the commodity markets look like they're about to turn, and specifically in the battery metals sector. So we think now's the time for people to be investing in the space across the board, and particularly in battery metals.
What do you really feel sets the company apart from the other Toronto venture mining stocks?
I mean, I think for us, it's that we think we've got a resource that we can turn it into a mine. So we're not trying to find the resource. We've found a resource. Now we need to try and expand it, improve it up. So and show that it has the bones to become a mine. So that would, probably if there's 1,500 listings on the Toronto Stock Exchange, 1,400 of them or more would not have a resource, so that's the number one category killer. The other, I guess, is we're basically a battery metals complex. So it's like nickel, copper, cobalt, and palladium. So it's a nice polymetallic mix. So those are often the best mines to finance, because you've got a number of different commodities that are feeding into your revenue stream, and typically they're not all down together. So that's nice. So I think that's another separating for us. So there's probably, if there's 100 people with resource, probably there's maybe 3 or 4 nickel projects. So when we compare quite favorably with them, and we're vastly undervalued relative to where they're at. But that's because people don't know Chilean Metals has become a nickel company. So that's why we got to get on shows like yours and let people know that this is the change. And I suspect we'll be doing some things on the branding side to be more visibly understood as a battery metal deal.
Yep. So where do you see the company positioned in about a 2 to 3 year period?
Well, God willing, that would be, I think we would have done 2 things. We would have probably done a reorg. So we probably will split the company into a battery metal company and a, gold, silver, copper explorer. And then I would say on the battery metal company, we would, in that time frame, probably have completed the exploration and have done a PEA and possibly even started a PFA. And quite probable at that point, we probably would have entertained offers and then maybe even sell that project. We're not a builder. It's not in our skill set. So our job is to find the resource, prove that it could become a mine through the steps that you need to take to give the mine developers comfort that they're buying a project that can become a mine. So preliminary economic assessments, preliminary feasibility study. So that type of thing is sort of typically where companies like ours would sell it. So I certainly see that being possible in that 2 year period. For the exploration plays, exploration is we're in some terrific areas for exploration in Chile and in BC, and there's tremendous unlocked value there. We feel the exploration market's not hot yet because gold is sort of is in a bit of a dip, but I think as this helicopter money keeps on going, at some point there will be a roaring gold market, and these exploration plays will be where you want to be. So we think that we'll be ready ourselves for that and do the footwork so that we're ready to take advantage of that at the right time.
So, Terry, in conclusion, why invest in Chilean metals?
I'd say fundamentally, we're just if you like battery metals and you look at comparable projects like Palladium One or Talon Metals, you'll find if you look at our deck, we did one of the tests we did was we looked and we said, okay, these particular companies all had a resource, and we said how much drilling did it go into getting this resource, and how much revenue was generated, and just it's like an ERA. It's like a statistic you'd look at and say, hey, how do you compare pictures across the board? Well, in this case, basically, generated in revenue for Talon Metals, which has got a market cap of over 300. Palladium is about 65 and has a market cap around 60, and we're about 90,000 plus, and our market cap is like, I don't know, 15 or something like that. So in my view, that's just not going to last. The market will eventually recognize that we're a nickel company and that this is a tremendous value add. So I think that would be the number one reason I would buy the stock right now.
An exciting investment story at hand. We will keep an eye out, Terry, as the company moves ahead. If you could come back and always give us updates. But Terry Lynch, thank you for joining us here at the Wall Street Ledger.
Great to be here, Nick, and thanks for having us.
Our featured guest, Terry Lynch, President, CEO, and Director at Chilean Metals. Chilean Metals currently traded shares on the Toronto Venture Exchange on ticker CMX, as well over-the-counter markets ticker CMETF. Thank you for joining us.